بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأزكى التسليم على المبعوث رحمة العالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome to the Fiqh class. We're continuing the discussion of the book of marriage, and we are still discussing the money, the dower of the bride. And now we've reached the issue of dividing the dower or halving the dower. Dividing the dower to half. And scholars agreed in general that divorce before consummating the marriage necessitates half the dower. When we initiate the marriage contract, but then a divorce happens before the consummation of marriage, how much the wife deserves? Half. Because she is considered the wife. Even though there was no consummation, she is considered the wife and she gets half. And that's considered divorce. Now, what if the divorce was due to a defect in the husband? He lied, or he said something that was incorrect. In this case, she deserves the full dower. She deserves the full dower. Now we have an interesting issue. And by the way, all these issues could happen nowadays, and actually many more than these issues. These are just the main issues that scholars discussed. And some of them actually not in the book. I will tell you what is not in the book, and I had to add it because it commonly happens nowadays. This one, it is mentioned in the book. And it could happen. You agree with your fiancé, you agree that this is the dower that you will pay. You come to the family, and they like you, you are a nice guy, and you like her, she is very beautiful, she is very religious, mashallah, everything is fine. And you agree that you will pay $10,000 as a dower. And because you were so happy, so excited, you paid the money up front. These $10,000. You are still in the period of engagement. Or let's say the marriage contract took place. The marriage contract took place. But you and her both, and both families also agreed that consummation of marriage will not happen before 1 year. You are in a different city and she's in a different city, or you are in the same city but she's studying, you're studying, you know that you have to wait at least 1 year. But you paid the money up front, the $10,000, because that is her right. After 2 months, you decided that this is not working out. This marriage, it will not work out. So you divorced her. Now by divorce, was there consummation of marriage? There was not consummation of marriage. What was the dower? 10,000. How much you should pay her? 5,000. But how much you paid her? 10,000. What you should do?
Get back.
You need your $5,000 back, right? You asked for the $5,000, and here is what happens. She doesn't have them anymore. You gave it to her, and she spent that money. What would you do? What would you tell her to do? She have to get you back the money?
Yes.
Yes, the money is spent.
Installments.
Payment plan?
Payment plan.
Credit card?
You need the money back. Yeah.
It's just that you receive your 5,000.
Yeah.
It is ihsan if you release
It is ihsan, yes, to release it, but you don't want to use ihsan, especially now, because you are in a difficult situation. It's $5,000. It is not $500. It is $5,000. And if someone did it 2 times, what will happen to him? He's also engaged to another family, and they asked for $10,000. Obviously, he may not do the same mistake again, but he just did it. He paid $10,000. He was sure that this will work out, and it did not work out. So now you tell him also do ihsan again, and he opens a charity for everybody. So what should he do? What should she do? Now she comes and says, it is not my fault. You gave me $10,000 and I spent it. I was dreaming of our dream house, our future house, and that's where I spent the money on. The bedroom, the bathroom, the kitchen. I don't have the money. Or she spent all the money, she spent it on dresses that she will wear after marriage. For you. And you say, I don't want that, I want the money. Alright, that's fine.
Payment plan.
Payment plan. Imagine if she was your sister. Now, if I were the groom, I would ask for it. It's my money. If I were the bride, I would say, I'm sorry, it's your fault. You paid all the money. Nobody forced you to pay it. What would you do? If you are the father of the groom, what would you tell her father? So you need to look at it from all aspects.
Payment plan is very just, it's very moderate.
Even payment plan now, she agreed to payment plan, $100 a month.
Yeah.
For 50 months. So how long it will take until you get your money? 4 years.
Yeah. At least you get some.
So there is difference of opinions among scholars. Some of them said she has to pay him back the money because it is his, it is not her right. Her right is only half the dower. Other scholars said it depends on the money, where it was spent. If she spent it on her things, her stuff, like she bought a laptop, she bought cell phone, she bought nice car, then she has to pay back. But if she paid that money for something for the marriage, then she doesn't have to pay back the money. You disagree with this? Why? She acted with a good faith. You should not hold her accountable for that. Every day you were planning, you were dreaming, and you gave her authorization, and she did that for both of you, and then it did not work out. Okay, so this is very important issue. Another issue. Where you did not pay the money. You agreed on $10,000. And the marriage was initiated, but not the consummation. And then after 2 months, it did not work out. How much you should pay? How much you should pay out of $10,000? $5,000. You don't have the money. You did not pay anything and you don't have the money. And you said, Alhamdulillah, it is over. I did not pay anything. I did not lose anything. Can you do that?
No.
You should pay. What you should pay?
Same answer.
5,000. What if the father of the bride said, we forgive you? Is it his right to forgive?
No.
It's not his right.
It's the woman, the bride has the dower.
Can a father forgive the dower
No.
for his daughter? Now, if she agrees, there is no issue. But what if she says, no, I want my $5,000. It is $5,000.
It's her right.
Can the father forgive?
No.
Can or can't? He can. He's a wali. What's the definition of a wali? What's his What's his role then in marriage?
To approve the suitor.
Approve the suitor.
Yeah. Yes. Not to take away her right of dower.
Well, most cases, who decides how much should be the dower?
Mother.
Mother, right? Yeah, that's true. Many cases. So, can the father forgive? No? According to Malik, Imam Malik rahimahullah, he says yes, he can. According to the majority of scholars, no, because that's the right of who?
Right.
The bride. And both of them, they differed due to a reason. Now, when you say yes and you say no, you have to have an evidence. And that evidence is in Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayah 237. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, look at the ayah. And if you divorce them, before you have touched them, what does it mean?
Intercourse.
Does it really mean intercourse, or it means
You're alone with them.
seclusion? Or there is difference of opinions. But anyways, it is a metaphor or a means of consummation of the marriage. And you have already specified for them an obligation, means the dower, then half of what you specified. Why? Because they were divorced before consummation. And look at the ayah, because the ayah is clear, it is straight, nobody disagreed that divorce before the consummation of the marriage necessitates half the dower. Because it is straight from this ayah, clear cut. They all agreed on that. But again, these are the issues. Unless they forego the right, the wife can forego the right. She says, I don't want the money. Isn't that her right? The husband can forego also, forgive. If he gave $10,000 and then he would say, I don't want back anything. Can he do that? Of course he can. But the ayah, look at the ayah, and that's where they differed. Unless they forego the right, they refers to who? Wives or the husbands? The wives. Or the one in whose hand is the marriage contract forgoes it. That is where we have the issue. Or the one in whose hand is the marriage contract. Who's the one in his hand is the marriage contract? Is it the father or the husband? That is the main issue. Because if you say it is the father, then the ayah is clear that he can forgive. And that's the opinion of Imam Malik. While the majority of scholars, what do they say? It is the husband who has the marriage contract. The father can only approve or disapprove. The marriage contract is not in his hand of the wali. Do you understand now the difference of opinions here in this ayah? Yes or no? Okay. So which is the correct opinion? The majority. The father?
Yes. Because the ayah says if you divorce them,
Yeah.
or if they forgive, it's different people. The you divorce them is talking to the husband, and they is talking about someone else. Unless they forgive.
One in whose hand is the marriage contract is the father.
Is the one whose hand is the marriage contract in the father?
No.
Yeah, the father.
The father?
Because it would have said unless you forego the right, or the
Unless they.
oh, I'm sorry, yeah, unless the one.
They.
Yeah,
They could mean the wives.
they means the wives, and the one in whose hands the marriage.
Is the husband.
But he could have said to
Or the
you.
one or.
It's the wife's right.
Okay, so there's difference of opinions.
No, my argument didn't make
So which is the correct?
I just
But how can the husband ever forego? Because
The husband forego when he already gave and he says, I don't want back anything. Okay, now this issue is not mentioned in the book, and many times it happens.
Okay.
If you present a gift, whether before the contract or even after the contract, a gift is a gift, right?
Unless they are close attached.
What would you do? You gifted your fiancée a gift. Now, why would you give her a gift?
Because you expect
Good points.
You are expecting something in return, right? You are expecting to marry her, and that marriage did not take place. Would you take back your gift? No? $5,000 gift. Would you take it back or no?
It depends.
It depends now.
Yeah.
Brand new car. It's not even
Yeah.
used.
You know, if it's trivial, then you don't take it back. If it's something
If it's trivial, you don't
big,
take it back.
yeah, car,
If it's big, yeah, you take it back.
take it back.
So what constitutes big and small?
Orf. The orf and the husband's means.
Husband means. Yeah, sometimes gifts are really expensive. Imagine if you bought her a ring,
Oh yeah.
diamond ring, and it has 5 Ks, 5 Cs.
Yeah.
Very expensive ring, and it is there, it is not touched. Do you ask it back, or you say just forgive her?
Was the gift contingent on certain conditions?
Does it have to be contingent on certain conditions? Why you are given this gift? Now obviously if you gave her food as a gift, or you invited her for dinner, you won't tell her pay me back. But if you gifted her physical things, would you ask for them back or no? No?
My answer.
Is that because you're a lady, you're saying no? Or okay, what if it's the opposite now? What if she gifted him a gift?
It's the same answer.
Wouldn't she ask for it back?
If she gives a gift, she doesn't get it back.
She doesn't get it back.
Yeah, same answer.
Very expensive glasses or ring or car, brand new car, would you take it back or no? Now many scholars said as long as it is existed in the same condition, you can take it back. And in most these cases it is really hard to solve them if there is a dispute, unless the judge decides. And sometimes actually it goes to the judge. Now you have to distinguish. There is one important difference here. If those gifts are part of the dower, then you don't take them back, because the dower is her right. But if they are outside, because here is what happens. The man says, well, I already gave half my dower. Why would I incur more losses? The dower was $10,000, I already gave $5,000 and I got nothing. We did not consummate the marriage. I did not even do anything with her, and I paid $5,000. Now I also gave her a gift for $5,000 and I don't take it back also? What do you think? Is that fair? Is it fair?
No, if it's attached to the dower, then you have to get it back.
Sheikh, with the dower itself is specified only in the contract, right? So how will all this apply? That's what I don't understand.
Some people, many people, when they say $5,000, it doesn't mean necessarily cash. He might give her jewelry, gold, and that gold is like $5,000, and that is part of the dower. He cannot take it back. But aside from that, He gave that, and he gave many other things.
But the stipulation of the dower itself happened only when you do the contract. You don't stipulate it before, right? Because there's nothing.
You don't stipulate it, but you agree on it before. Before you do you establish the contract while you don't know how much you will pay? They agree way before the time of the contract. Okay? So this is very important issue also that happens a lot. Now we have another issue. Marrying without specifying the dower is valid. We already said that there is an agreement on this. Scholars agreed that it is valid. Because there is a dower, but it was not what? Specified. How much is she paid? They agreed that there is a dower, and he told her, I will pay you enough. I love you so much, and this will not be an issue. And she said, okay. They are married, and she said, show me the money. And he gave her $2,000. And she said, what is this? He said, this is your dower. She said, no, this is pocket change for me. I want my dower. What would you do? Get another wife. Even if you got another wife.
What does this mean? You have to look at it as his means.
At his means or her means?
Both.
Both. Okay, he comes from a very modest, low income class family.
Yeah.
He makes $40,000 a year. She comes from a noble family. Her father makes $400,000 a year. The dower of her sister was $100,000. What would you say? You look at his means or her means?
His means that
His means. That's not what she thought, because he told her he will pay her enough, and she understood enough as just similar to yes.
Should be according
To her family. So what do we tell this poor guy? You have to work for 2 years and a half for nothing just to pay her?
You never pay the man.
No. She knew, obviously, she would have known the situation before she accepted this.
She knew, and obviously he knew her situation before he comes and takes that huge step.
She wasted that time.
Why would they ever get married like that?
Love. The secret word. Love. They loved each other. So they married. Forget about money, but now when reality comes, it is all about money, or this is what happened. Guys means. What about her? For the guys means, $5,000 is enough. How can you reconcile between $5,000 and $100,000?
Do you have the option?
She doesn't want because
You look at both.
Then after she accepts what he can afford.
You look at both, and what's practical, you implement. In this case,
what is practical in this case?
the husband cannot afford that $100,000, so he'll give like $2,000, $5,000.
2,500.
But it will be very big insult for her when people say she is paid $5,000 and her sister was paid $100,000.
So sad. So sad.
You have to blame it on love.
She has to. Yeah, love is blind.
Love is blind and poor.
But she now accuses him. If he loved her, he would have paid her that money. Okay, now this could happen. I mean, again, it. Next issue, if death occurred of the husband before specifying the dower. How could this happen? You loved the girl, she loved you, you agreed to marry, you initiated the marriage contract, and she trusted you, you will pay her enough. You did not really talk much about the dower, but then suddenly the guy just passes away. What should she do?
He gets all his wealth. She gets all his wealth.
She gets all his wealth. MashaAllah. Why? For what? Again, this is another issue that you need to look into.
He
It's
leaves inheritance.
No, it's not inheritance.
well, here's the thing. Is this part of the inheritance?
No.
This is aside from the inheritance. This has nothing to do with the inheritance. This is a debt on him.
If he leaves an estate, then she should get a handsome amount.
Handsome amount. How handsome it is.
$250,000. She should get what other sisters have.
What other sisters?
Yes.
Before others should be paid before the inheritance is distributed.
Okay, before you talk right and left, read the ayah and see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. This is the previous ayah of the ayah that we saw last time, ayah 237. This is ayah 236. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, there is no blame upon you if you divorce women you have not touched, nor specified for them an obligation. There is no blame on you. But give them compensation. The wealthy according to his capability, and the poor according to his capability. Now you see what this ayah means? Up till here, the ayah says, give them compensation. And based on that, some scholars said, if the dower was not specified, she doesn't deserve anything. Nothing. But she is given compensation. Based on the urf. The wealthy according to his capability. So in this case, this poor guy, he would give her something according to his capability, which is $1,000. That's his capability. And the poor according to his capability. A provision according to what is acceptable. So some scholars say that's what she deserves only. She doesn't even deserve the dower because it was not specified. But this ayah is talking about what? Death or divorce? Divorce. It is talking about divorce. Now the issue at hand is what? Death. The issue is death. It happened during the time of Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu. And he was asked, and he said, I know nothing from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, but I will give my opinion. That she has to observe the iddah as the iddah of the widow, because her husband, he is her husband. And she deserves the full dower. And one of the companions testified that the Prophet ﷺ judged the same in the case of Barwa bint Washiq, a woman that her husband passed away before the consummation of marriage, and that was his judgment, his ruling. And Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was very happy because it matched the judgment of the Prophet ﷺ. So if the husband passed away, the wife deserves what? The full dower.
What's the full dower?
The full dower. Now, the dower was not specified.
Right.
So the full dower would be according to Mahr al-Mithl.
Women of the family?
Yeah. The dower was not specified. So how do we know how much she deserves? Based on her family. Mahr al-Mithl. Okay. Another issue in the dower. Can the dower be unclarified? And in the book, he mentioned a funny case. A man is engaged to a woman, and they agreed on a dower. And that dower was either 2,000 or 5,000. Well, which one is it? He told her, if I am not married to any other woman, you will get $2,000. But if I am married to another woman, you will get $5,000. So how much she will get?
That can happen only after he dies.
No. This is a case where he's alive, and he came to a woman and he told her, I love you, and I will give you a dower. This dower, $2,000 if I don't have any other wife.
Yeah.
Or $5,000 if I have another wife.
Then it's 2,000. If he marries again, 2,000 more. He has to pay.
No, now. He's telling her now.
2,000.
And she finds out that he's married.
Then 5,000.
Can that be a dower?
Yes. Yes. Why not? All transactions aren't halal.
All transactions are halal. This is a transaction.
Conditional dower.
Yeah, but what conditional dower? This is either or. She doesn't know how much she will get. Isn't that gharar? Deception
No.
in transaction? As if I tell you, if there is defect,
Yeah, that's
so you change your mind now? See how quick you change your mind? What do you think? Why it is deception? You will guarantee either this or that.
He had a wife and he didn't tell her about.
No, he told her if he has a wife, she will be paid much more.
That's deception. He had a wife.
And she agrees. So what's the problem?
She will find out when she sees that he has a
Yeah, she doesn't know, so she will wait. But she guarantees either he doesn't have a wife, or even if he has a wife, she will get enough money.
That's a good deal.
Good deal. Well, there is difference of opinions again. You see, all these issues, because there is no specific text clarifying them, and there comes the important work of the jurist, of the student of knowledge, of the scholar, to derive the ruling. Invalid dower. A man married a woman, and he gifted her, or he gave her the dower, 1,000 bottles of champagne. Each bottle is $100. That is how much? How much? $100,000. What do you think of that dower?
No good.
The dower, no good. So what do you tell him and her?
You burn in hell.
MashaAllah, going to hell. He wanted to get married. He wanted to do something good.
Tell them that he has a son.
Okay, so what?
He did not pay her a dower. He still owes her.
Yeah.
He still owes her.
The marriage is invalid.
So he owes her, and he brings her another 1,000 bottles of champagne.
No, he needs
Mahar
to.
is from it's the gift of Allah. You cannot pay it with haram.
You cannot pay it with haram. So what you do?
You pay them from halal.
From halal, what? How much?
Whatever was agreed on.
There was no agreement. The agreement that was, there is a dower, and he paid her. That's the equivalent of $100,000. Or, in another case, he brought to her 100 pigs. Each pig is $200 worth.
Yeah, it's invalid.
What if it's haram earnings? I mean, if all his earnings are haram, can you pay from that? It's the same case.
What do you do with this case? The 1,000 bottles of champagne or the 200 pigs?
The dower is invalid. Yes, it's invalid.
The dower is invalid. Is the marriage valid?
Yes.
Yes.
The marriage is valid. How it is valid?
Because they still believe that there is a maher, but the maher is not paid.
Oh, you mean if they specify the invalid dower in the contract?
Is that what you're
So
saying?
the contract is void.
Yeah, some scholars said the contract is void because this contract is free of dower, and the dower is one of the pillars of the contract. So the marriage itself is invalid. Other scholars said no, the marriage itself is valid, but the dower is not valid, and we need to rectify the dower. But how you rectify the dower? Instead of champagne, you tell him bring her 1,000 bottles of grape juice. What do you do?
If she accepts the grape juice, yes.
She doesn't accept. She says this is only $2,000. That's very, very low for me as a dower.
Take that amount, the monetary amount, and give it to her.
$100,000.
Yeah, if you spend it on champagne, you can spend it on her.
But that's what he has. He has a winery. He has a factory for champagne. He cannot afford $100,000. That's way too much. Especially that her sister was paid $15,000, not $100,000. But he wanted to give her $100,000 since he has champagne.
So again, look at the guy's means of sister's family. It was practical.
What is practical according to who? To her, what is practical is $100,000. But we cannot allow it because it is champagne.
He has to sell it and give the money to her.
MashaAllah, look at this answer.
No.
He has to sell it. Selling the champagne and give her the money. Haram.
He's already dealing in haram. He's got a winery. He's anyway going to sell it.
He converted to vinegar.
All his earnings is anyway haram.
No.
Vinegar plant.
Okay, another case. Someone said, you will marry my daughter, and this is her dower, $10,000, and a very nice suit for me. So you will not marry my daughter unless you pay the dower and you pay me something.
Yeah, that's damn binding.
That is binding?
Yes. It's a part of the dower, I guess.
It is part of the dower. The dower is for the girl or for her father.
It's not part of the dower.
A gift is something that we give without the request. That's not a gift.
Yeah, this is not dower.
Bribe.
That is a bribe.
No, I don't think it's a bribe.
Well, you cannot marry her without giving him something.
It's just no. It's not. It's okay.
It's okay.
But it's not part of the dower.
It is not part of the dower.
In addition to the dower.
You don't want to pay him anything because you say he doesn't deserve anything.
Yeah, but he's the wali. He's giving up his
He's the
dower.
wali, so you have no option. What if you are the father of the girl?
Yeah.
And you say, well, I want something for me. I'm giving up my daughter, and she's getting the dower. What I'm getting? I need a car,
Yeah.
$3,000 car. He's paying $15,000. Let him pay $3,000 for me. No? Why not? Is the marriage valid?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. She's getting a dollar.
He's getting a car.
She have to give the father a gift that he requested.
Father is sad. He's crying. He lost his daughter, and he gets a new car.
Some scholars said the dower is invalid. Or this condition, he doesn't pay him anything. Other scholars differentiated. They said, if that was after marriage, then the husband really did not have to pay it, but he can pay it. It is his option. But not before marriage. Some scholars said it is up to her. If she agrees, since she has the say on the dower, and she agrees that her father takes something, then that is hers. Others said the entire marriage is invalid, because this is an invalid dower. So a marriage happened without a dower, and it is invalid. So these are the opinions. Now, the dispute about the dower. Again, if they are married, and they come to you, both the husband and the wife. The husband says, we agreed on $10,000. And the wife says, no, we agreed on $100,000. What do you do? Check the witnesses. The witnesses, they testified that there was a dower. And one of them said they agreed on $10,000. The other one said they agreed on $100,000.
The females need two witnesses.
The female needs two witnesses.
Yeah.
Why?
In case one of them errs.
What are you talking about?
Isn't there written, if the written contract is not there?
Yeah, they agreed verbally, and the witnesses were there. They testified that there was a marriage, and the dower was specified, but they forgot. He's saying the dower was 10,000, and she's saying no, the dower was 100,000. And they both come to you. They tell you, please solve our problem. You know, you studied, you have the knowledge.
Take an oath. Both of them take an oath.
Both of them take, and both of them said,
The same thing?
yeah.
Okay. You look at the girl's sister's girl's family.
There's no girl's family. It's either 10,000 or 100,000. The girl's family is 50,000.
Okay. You look at that.
You look at that, and he says 10,000. There is no way he can pay 50,000. And she swears by Allah it is 100,000. That's what he agrees. Otherwise, she won't accept to marry him, because she is better than her sisters. This is what they agreed. Now, there is nothing about. Both of them don't want the similar dower. Both of them. Because if you say we will take the similar dower, she says no, and he will say no. So,
Not to decide based on situation.
2,500.
2,500.
Better than the wives of the sisters.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. She says, he promised me $100,000. They disputed. So what do you do in this case?
I don't know.
You have to know. If you don't know, who will know? They will. This could happen. It may happen actually. Now, in principle, in judgment, who is supposed to bring the evidence? I come and I say, you owe me $10,000. You'll say, yeah, you're right, here is $10,000.
The one who is accusing.
Who's accusing who here?
No one.
The wife has to bring the evidence.
The wife has to bring the evidence.
She's the person that is owed the money.
Yeah.
Both are accused.
Why? The wife is agreeing that there is a dower. And the husband agrees there is a dower. But he denies that it is 100,000.
Right, so the wife will have to bring the evidence. Because she is the party that is receiving, so she has to bring the evidence.
Why? Isn't the husband the party that is beneficiary here? That he is paying less?
Yeah, he's paying.
He's paying less. And he agrees that he's paying. See, scholars differ because some of them say the wife agrees that there is a dower, but she disagrees on the amount. So she is the one who is requesting something else, and that necessitates evidence. So she is the one who has to bring the evidence. Others say no, it is the husband. This is again very difficult situation when it happens, because even if it happened and both of them said, well, if that's the beginning, we don't want to go on with this marriage, just give us our money. And the wife says, just give me my money. And he says, what is your money? To me it is 5,000. And she says, no, it has to be 50,000. What do you do? Both of them agree on the principle that is applied in judgment. Al-bayyina ala man idda'a. The plaintiff has to present what? Evidence. And the defendant has to swear. Both of them don't have evidences. Both of them are swearing. Who's the plaintiff here? And who's the defendant? Okay, we will stop here inshallah. هذا وصلى الله وسلم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.